Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon listeners. It's me Suleiman Ben Suare coming on Facebook Live on the Open Gambia platform. If you can hear me loud and clear, please send a message on the comment section whilst we start this program. I'll be sharing this program and we start the program. Please let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Thank you. Just bear me a minute, I'll share this program and we start in earnest. Okay, thank you very much. Today is Friday, the 24th of February, 2025. The time just gone 23 minutes past 6 in the evening in Birmingham, England. I will try to keep this brief as much as possible. I know it can be tempting because we have a lot of very important topics to discuss. Thank you very much. Thank you, Modo. Thank you. Where I would start with the diamond celebration. Then I will get into what they turn to be a battleground, the Masembe ward. I know many Gambians are first time hearing the name Masembe. And then we'll talk about the outrage coming from public and the government trying to silence the people from speaking out. And we did a program on the radio, AG Radio, in Wolof yesterday, covering some of this topic. But I want to put it deliver it in English for other non-Wolof speakers, to understand what we discuss in here, which is very, very relevant to our situation. And Gambia attained independence, and since it was declared will be 60 years. And this government decided to celebrate the 60 years of independence. And on the previous program, we talked about the historic perspective of the independence. And let me make it very clear, I don't believe that we have anything to celebrate. I don't think we have attained any independence for that matter. Not sovereign not sovereign democratic independence, not a sovereign economic independence. Then there's no need to celebrate anything, but instead we should have taken this period to reflect on our nationhood and how can we keep our nationhood as promised during the time of declaration of independence. How can we keep it peace, prosperous, progressive and prosperous? This is what we promised, and everything that we promised in the national pledge and everything that we advocated at the in the national anthem. This should have been what we try to recalibrate to determine our trajectory going on. But since we had our independence 60 years, we haven't developed. I think, in fact, we are going backwards. I mean, from what we had. We are losing our national assets. We are losing the future generation. Gambia is no more competitive to sustain itself. And the promises that our founding fathers made, that Gambia will be able to maintain an independent nation based on our diversity, our diverse people. It seems we are failing them, and we should not. Knowing that Gambia have all the potentials to be to become a developed nationhood. We can do that. We can achieve that. But we have to make sure we work towards that, work towards it, and pray, as it's mentioned in our national anthem. But today we just want to move on to talk about the celebration itself, and look at the arrangements and or what have transpired. I know there's no person who said he feel celebrating. I had a friend who sent me a message and said to me, look, I don't want to use the H word for the independence. And I said, you just don't even bother to mention it unless you want to be really critical about it, really be truthful of your feelings. You see, people don't even want to be truthful of their feelings, thinking that would be unpatriotic to do that, especially if they are known to be critics of this administration. No, we are criticizing not because of we don't love this country, because we criticize because we love this country. And we're not criticizing only because of this government. No, we are criticizing for the failure of the past and present government. But more so this government. I emphasize. What have we witnessed in the so-called celebration? What they said is marching together for self-reliance. What have this government project to prove that we are marching together for self-reliance? We just had the budget speech recently. What have we witnessed? What's their aspiration to the budget? It's to build this small percentage, 1 to 2% of Gambians who will be benefiting, who will be looting and benefiting our resources, and leave the rest of the Gambians to suffer. They will not create the conducive environment and an enabling environment for Gambians to meet their potential. The other thing is, we have seen that they are so divisive in all sense, in order to keep the people fighting among themselves so that they can stay in power. This is what have been, this is what Barrow have presented. The government that came to reset the button, to make sure we build our foundations, democratic foundation, to make sure we realign our economy in order to see a better future. What did he do? Within the 8 years, in fact, they enriched themselves more than any government have ever attempted to do, not even done. They become the worst in corruption. And if we let them, they'll be worse in human rights abuses. If we let them. What have we witnessed? It should have been a day that Barrow announces that we have reached a milestone of 60 years. And on this occasion and date, I declare that I am not running for a third term, and I will make sure I will invite civil society and the political actors in order for us to complete the transition to make sure we have a credible elections. We will reconstitute the IEC, and we will make sure for rest of my time we will work towards the coming elections to be free and fair, and I will not support any permanent candidate for that matter, and I will retire from politics. This was what would have been expected, but we'll get to that. Instead, the night before, they organized a banquet. And the incompetence of this government, they don't even know how to organize a banquet. They are completely in shambles. They lack sophistication, they lack oriented, they are just not fit to take care of anything. What happened to the banquet? Most of them did not turn up on time because they have no respect and regards for people that invited them. No respect and regards for people that invited them. Not only that, for the videos and what we saw and people that attended, they have nothing to celebrate. Only thing that we see the shamelessness of a president who is overfed by the taxpayers, standing there celebrating whilst people are outside the fence crying out for bread, which become a staple, become one of the cheapest stable but very expensive for average Gambian. This is what Gambians are crying out for. They cannot even deliver on bread, but they are feasting on caviar or chicken or whatever they do. And they got their musicians to jubilate or to be sung, to be praised, and they be giving out money. That's what they did. And thank God the opposition did not grace that banquet. Thank God they would not break that banquet, because they would have been committing the same immoral offense as the president did. This is just something that we have to think about. You know, when leaders lose touch, and this is not unique to Africa. If you look at the history of leadership, when leaders lose touch, this is a sign of that. It's when they go and organize these big parties, big feasts, while the people are starving and struggling. And if they are good students of history, they will learn about what the bread strike have committed, change it have effected. It's part of the aesthetics or something that science that shows when a government will end up to be challenged from the streets, and when they cannot afford bread, what next they will be challenged on the streets. And we have seen and hear people start voicing it out, people that we have never heard. And we all remember the King Consort in France, Maria Antoinette, when he asks, when they come and cry out that they can afford bread or there's no bread. She asked the public to go and bake cake. That's out of touch. When Gambians are crying out for anything. Now the stables, the protein stable of fish, Gambians can afford. Talking about red meat, which is a luxury now. Even chicken is a luxury, eggs are luxury. People used to buy bread, butter, eggs, whatever it is. Now they just buy the bread and the cheapest of miners, the cheapest of miners, and that's what they will eat. Something with no nutrition for that matter. And some people will be eating that as their 2 daily these things. There is nothing, no consideration of the balanced diet. That's how much people are suffering. But you can call up for a celebration and have your banquet for your selected few, and that selected few, most of them, they will respect you enough to be there on time. To be there on time. We used to have a saying in those days. If you have a new clothes or a beautiful clothes, you say that, oh, I'm reserving this for when the presidents invite me. Because of what those interpret is the importance of going to answer to the president. But now, that respect is not even there anymore. Got degraded from Yaya Jammeh to what's now. If you watch Barrow and the people around Barrow, for anything they do, and you watch what happens even at the time of independence, 60 years, what happened at the 60s, 70s, 80s, even early 90s, the Jawara generation was more sophisticated in everything they do. Everything they do, they were more sophisticated. Because of the competency, arrangements, and everything, with the little resources they have. With the little resources they have, you can see and feel it. But there's not even ambience. They cannot even create. There's no creative industry anymore that they can showcase. I am not for that celebration, but if you choose to do it in the name of the people, do it properly. But let's move to the other thing, the guest invites. These are very important things. You see, the president invited guests from Senegal. The president of Senegal, who attended, president of Guinea-Bissau, who attended. He invited the president of Nigeria, who did not attend, a Senate delegation. He invited the president of Sierra Leone, who did not attend, Senate delegation. This we know of. What does that indicate? What does that indicate? And all the guests he invited that attended in person, the president of Senegal and Guinea-Bissau, they came in and left immediately after the might pass. The president of Guinea-Bissau left before the end of the might pass. Left before the end of the might pass. Now, let's look at individually. We all know the importance of our relationship with Senegal, and if we have a national day to celebrate, if we are to celebrate, they should be invited. But again, when we get to even how he was treated, that's another discussion we'll have soon. But the Guinea-Bissau president, why invite the Guinea-Bissau president? I'm not saying that we don't have historic relationship or strategic relationship, but this guy have turned to be a dictator. The guy just cancel elections. Now he's going to stay beyond his term. It's unconstitutional, it's undemocratic. And there's no reason to stay, to not have the elections. There's no pandemic, there's no insurgency going on or anything. Just because he doesn't want to, knowing that it will be difficult even this round to steal election. The last election, he stole the elections. Results announced were not even certified before he went to be swear. And because of the support of ECOWAS, he got through it. They went to the parliamentary election. He lost the two-third majority in parliament. What did he do? He went and dissolved the parliament and started running the country without parliament. No reason. And next presidential elections, on the 23rd, he pushed that for another year. What that remind you of Macky Sall? Because that's when they become dictator, when they fear. He knows he's going to lose elections. He knows that he's a drug dealer. He knows that he's corrupt. He knows he's anti-democratic, and he's going to pay for it. because he just before going through that, what he did do, he staged a fake coup, and he massacred people for that, and arrested people for a fake coup when he fell out with the drug cartel that he was working with. Still, that trial cannot go through. But we come to that. Obviously, he will come. He will come, but he could not even stay to the end. Because, I mean, the guy is psychologically scared now. He's thinking of any time he'll be attacked again. Because we all know the history of Guinea-Bissau. Why would you destabilize Guinea-Bissau? And ECOWAS is zeal about it. And this is something else Gambians should learn. We should not expect ECOWAS to do it for us, or anybody to do it for us. We have to do it for us. If we want our security, we have to provide our security by leadership, good governance. Now, Nigeria, the guy is not well. He's unpopular. He's undemocratic. He stole an election, and they have huge economic worries, insurgency from the north. You invite him? They will not come. Because of two, this is the reality. Those things, many countries are now cancelling the celebration of independence, or putting it in a so low key that it will not even be the same. Because we have not attained it. With everything going on in the world now, we have seen what Donald Trump and his fascist government is doing. Which I am happy with the so-called aid. It's not aid, it's an exploitation. USAID is an exploitation to withdraw. Let's suffer it and work hard and have a sovereign economic independence. We can do it. Africa can do it. But we know that temporarily is going to hurt. That's why we should have put out, the government should have now align their budget and to fill the gaps and concentrate on that rather to say that they're going to celebrate. We have seen the far right in the UK, Europe and others. They are all now the alternative party. They are no more the fringe parties. Now they are alternative, likely to win power if elections are held. Or not, if they didn't win power, they can influence policy. And they are influencing policy right now. If you hear the rhetoric, racist rhetoric coming from the conservative in the United Kingdom, where an African woman is more racist than even the white supremacists and the leader of the conservative, because of trying to appeal to that vote. And we see what's happening in Germany. We see what's happening in Sweden, the most liberal country in Europe. We see how far the far right is going. That should be called for concern. But no, if you have a government like Barros, they can't understand these dynamics and what to be done. Because they don't care. They have no concern. They can't have empathy. They are ruthless. Because they are not suffering. Their immediate family are not suffering. They are all torn multimillionaires. Barrow is torn a multimillionaire. The Barrow's wife is torn a multimillionaires. Their siblings are torn multimillionaires. Barrow's brother is a millionaire. Barrow's nephews are multimillionaires. In Gambian terms, within 8 years, I'm not even saying 8 years, before 8 years, they have been multimillionaires because of our resources. They don't have the intellect, they don't have the experience, they don't have the background to transform themselves millionaires because it's only because of their husband, their father, or their brother or uncle become a president. And the average Gambian suffering cannot even buy bread. The absence of the Sierra Leonean president invited. Why invite him? Because he has something to worry about. The same thing. He stole elections. Day of the elections, the soldiers went and attacked the opposition headquarters and opened fire. They nearly killed the opposition leader. They stole the elections. And in order to continue the suppression, he went and staged a fake coup again and arrested the former president. ECOWAS had to intervene for the former president to be released, all because of just to suppress the opposition. Guess what? This is his last stand. But hear it from me. He is walking to go for a third term. Take it from me. He's working to go to a third term or try to get someone loyal. But I can tell you that game now, to find someone you can trust, is just over. That's why they will end up trying to run third term, fourth term. Ivory Coast too was invited, sorry, I forgot to say that. But that guy too is running, trying to run his fourth term. He have enough to deal with. If Barrow government was smarter, they will know that, look, the people are not in the situation where they will celebrate it. Even your friends have not time to celebrate. Sierra Leone, the president is embattling the allegations of drug trafficking. One of the drug kingpins in the world today, Europe, Africa, was found hiding in Sierra Leone and dating one of his daughters, or this eldest daughter, and saw that guy behind him, the next in line behind him in the church. The guy left Turkey and went and stayed in Sierra Leone, and the consignments are coming as they will. And that drug dealer consignments are even in Gambia as well. He's not only operating in Sierra Leone, he's operating in West Africa. He invited him. He did not turn up. Now this is what we have left with ECOWAS. Guinea-Bissau is gone to a dictatorship, no elections, and I tell you, he's gone illegitimate, and Bissau will deal with that. But it's going to affect us. Then Barrow should know that it's not conducive now to try to run for that term. But he will try, because knowing that he cannot trust anyone, and he doesn't have a child that he can impose to us yet. That's what he's playing at. He will try to do that if we let him. He can't trust anyone. That if he leaves power, he will not be prosecuted. Just as the Sierra Leone leader doesn't trust the vice president. And according to agreement, it's the vice president and his team that make him a president. They finance him and they use their leverage within communities to make sure he's electable. But he betrayed him now, and we'll see where that's going to end up. But these are the invited dignitaries. But we'll come to Imbalo again. Let's look at the sitting arrangements. I know some people, probably lack of understanding, agree. Others, they understand. But because they support this corrupt administration, they will always look for an excuse. But you cannot defend the indefendable. Oh, why sitting arrangement? Why is that important? If it's not important, then that's your ignorance. That's your ignorance. So sitting arrangements in events where the president is in attendance, or any event, but especially where the president is at attendance, where all the dignitaries are in attendance, that's all the presidents and all the dignitaries from other countries. Technically, entire nation were in attendance that morning. The institutional heads were in attendance. The most critical institutions, the police, the army, the what next, they are all in attendance. And some of them in attendance with their deputies. The total command of the country were in attendance. The president was in attendance, the vice president was in attendance. I don't think the speaker is not in the house, is not in the country or something, or he's not, not to comment, but he would have been there. I saw the deputy speaker. And you want to tell me that it is not important? I am not going into details of that, but I can tell you there's consideration for security. And I can tell you they failed. Looking from the outside, and I hope when they listen to it and look from the inside, they will realize they failed. Two things to put into consideration in those national events where the president's attendance and that level of dignitaries. Security, diplomacy. Security is prevention, first. To prevent, deterrent. And the sitting arrangements, there are measures taken based on understanding the psyches of what perpetrators of crimes or different crimes, classification, profiling, and everything. You will determine what sort of event this thing would happen. To the extent of even stampede. Someone can cry wolf by where the president is, or something can trigger and be a catalyst for everybody to jump out. That's human nature. A balloon can blow up and it becomes something else. These minor things are not, they are put into consideration. But I am not talking about the other eventualities. We know that could happen. But again, you have to classify where likely these things will come, who are the likely perpetrators of this. Because there will be different dimensions of who would likely have interest to do. And that depends on the geopolitics, that depends on international politics, that depends on local, domestic, security. How to prevent this? And the sitting arrangements are key. There are measures you take in the sitting arrangement as key to deter. Because all those profiling, after you do it, you will think of what you will have to understand how they think. What would stop them from acting? Or what would keep them busy calculating or putting up measures for you to detect them and make a stop to it? This. Two would be if it happens, after every assessment, every mitigating circumstances put in place, and it end up happening. Let's just go back to the lowest one. That would be no fault to anyone because of fear or whatever it is. Anxiety hits someone and they act, and others react. Let's take it up to that. The order is the contingency plans for this. Then if it happens, what should we do? Different units or different sections of the army departments would have a role to play. Let's put that aside. That's about security. But I can tell you they fail. I'm not going to point at what they fail at because of it will be really irresponsible. But let's come to the diplomacy. Something we can talk about. Now, the sitting arrangements, part of it is which should be general. There's no secret about that. Which should be general. But within this general is how you put in measures and consideration to what I was talking as mitigating circumstances to deter any some of the security threats. What am I talking about here is sitting arrangements. The president or the presidents. Where the president sits is where the other, along the president, the host, that's where the other presidents will sit. In a democracy, we cannot have, even it's the president alone, if it is president alone, the president should sit with the spouse. And behind the president, the rest should sit. Especially when it's two other presidents. And for good measures, not to keep it complicated, the spouse are seated at a different location. Then the two presidents had to sit with the president, Barrow. But why did they decide to make the two, both presidents sit on the right? There's a security complication there which I'm not going to talk about. But diplomatically, I'm saying is, now, if I sit here, common sense, even friends, if we are three friends, we're going to the theater or we're going to an event, we decide to take our seats naturally. We would not have to have a conversation about that. Naturally, what happened? One friend would sit on the right side of the friend who would be in the middle, and the other would sit on the left. And why is it in this manner way? I can turn around to speak to the right, I can turn around to speak to the left, and the right and left can turn in, and we all have a three-way conversation. Common sense. Now, tell me, you have two guests as presidents who should be sitting with you. Why did you put one on your side and the next the other president at the far end? Not only that, they put bottles of water, a glass, and a table in between each of them. That's a hazard. You don't have that there. Presidents or dignitaries are prepared to come to events like that, not to drink, not to eat to the end of the positions, because there's a reason for that. That's the reason for that. You cannot have those tools there. You cannot have those tools in between the guests with a bottle of water and a glass. That's about security. Aesthetics people, others, even some people, presentation-wise, these things, it's not easy because it's dividing. At times when even in retail psychology, if certain things are certain displays are put in certain positions, they are strategic. There's something they want to happen with the people, shoppers coming in. They're trying to divert shoppers' attention from here to there or something like that. Then to put it there, there's no good use for it, but it might be a hazard actually, because dignitaries prepare themselves before they come to events like that. Sorry guys, I'm hitting up here, and before they come to events like that. Now, you put the Senegalese president at the far end. During the parade, he cannot have a conversation with Jomai. Is that deliberate? It's likely deliberate, and I tell you why it is likely to be deliberate later. You put Mbalo here. Mbalo was bored to death because Mbalo was not prepared to be there. The man is every second thinking when I am going to be attacked, because he have rendered himself illegitimate, staying beyond his mandate without an election, without any reason cause to not hold the elections. Look at it. Go and watch it. He was sitting bored. And normally what happens is these things, you have three of them sitting, Barrow in the middle, and they can be chit-chatting, that performance, or, chit-chat, small talks. But no. Until Mbalo, president of Bissau, decided to leave, then to move the Senegalese president, Faye, to come and sit by Barrow. And then Barrow pretend to be talking to him. You think how the Senegalese is going to view this? What do you think you think the Senegalese will view it as incompetence? No. They will read into it. They will read into it. Yes. They did this. And I'll tell you the reasons why I think that. But did you notice that when they sat down, I am sitting on a special kind of chair because this is what I need to do what I am doing. If I want to rest properly, I'm not going to sit on this. Or if I want to do something else, I'll go and sit at a chair more appropriate for what I'm doing. If I want to watch the TV today, right now, I'm not going to sit here to watch the TV. I'll sit there to watch the TV. If I was having my meal, I'm not going to sit there to have my meal. Because it's not appropriate to, there's more appropriate chair to eat my meal. Look at the chairs they have. Look at the chairs. The Barrow sat down on others. They are dining chairs. Dining chairs. When I asked from people very close, said, why are these people sitting on dining chairs? Barrow and Jomai and all those things. I was told that Barrow does not comfortably sit on settees, because if he had to get up, he would have to be given a hand. And when I was told that, it makes sense. That's the only reason that it could be. Now then, he cannot sit on an ordinary chair and go give those people proper settees to sit on. This is what I was told. And it's very plausible. Because, I mean, we all know that, I mean, Barrow might need assistance to get off a chair. But that's a health worry that, I mean, he should take into consideration. But not to prop up, himself and discomfort others, or make sure we adjust things to things that are not suitable for an event like that. For an event like that. Now, normally, obviously the president sits at the front. The presidents sit 3 on the front and the rest at the back. But we have the CDS next to the president. The CDS next to the president and army chief at the front there. Guys, all I'm going to say is it's a security nightmare. It's a security nightmare. I don't know what mindset our security people have to allow that. The protocol wise, it's not done. This should be at the back. We are a democracy. We are a civilian-led government. We are not a quasi-military civilian-led government. They should be at the back. A sitting arrangement, the president sits on a column, free. The service chief sits with diplomats, rather together or either way, with the senior diplomatic corps. Then the vice president and former vice president sits together as colleagues, and then the council of elders sits together. But there's consideration you put how to put these things, and the ambience. This is very apparent. When you organize independence celebration, especially a milestone, Silver Jubilee. I am not in support of even Jawara celebrated Silver Jubilee. I have nothing to celebrate. But if you choose to do it properly. Because we know the money is spent, or the money has been released. The spending would be put in bank accounts. We want to know. I hope we will finally know soon how much is spent. We have rumors of $2 million or not. Where is it shown? It's not evident, but I tell you, if you find out how much was spent, it's not evident. But again, it shows something. We have nothing to showcase. Even our culture, we cannot showcase. The Kumpo was substandard. The drama, this thing, I'm not criticizing the youth, is substandard because they did not invest in our culture, they did not invest in the youth development. The soldiers were substandard. What do we have to show? When countries do this, they show their might. They show their strong diplomacy. They show their soft diplomacy. We don't have those positions. We should not do it. Let's attain something and celebrate that. What have we got? Nothing. Nothing impressive. No ambience. People were bored. If it was more even impressive in those days, as a child, first you probably go to the depot and see the Deporeans put in their displays. Or watch them anywhere. Nothing actually. No activity. They say, where's the money gone? Apparently, I have no evidence on this, but Watson Gambia, which is very credible, have been very credible, said that the decorations have been given to a Senegalese company. Thank you for that celebration. You cannot. These foreign forces are occupying your state house in the term of the securing you, because now it become occupation force. I don't know what mandate keep on been renewed without the people consent. Never gone to parliament. We have occupying forces checking your national army. You go to Bakau depot, you have the economic rifles and sentries pointing to our soldiers. You go to Yundum, the same thing happens. You go to our airport, we don't control. Seaport, we don't control. And you are celebrating an independence. That's what we say, there's no independence. Now, let's go to the other bit of it. I just want to keep it brief. The speech did not. You see, speech writers. This is the worst speech I have ever had on any occasion. The speech is not measured on how fluent the person speaks the language or anything, but the content. What does it send? Obviously, first. Because why I said content, if you talk about something that's of no relevance to the event, as eloquent as you are, as a narrator, the best of what it is, people will not be inspired or galvanized or whatever it is. But if you deliver the content of that occasion, relevant to the occasion, and deliver it well, being whatever it is, that's when it resonates. You believe that simple things as if you are to draft a speech for an occasion of 60-year independence, the history, why are you there? How did you get there? Why are you there? How did you get there to independence of 60? The struggles and whatever. You talk about the achievements of a nation. Especially if you choose to say marching together, self-reliance, the marching together have to be in the midst of the speech of this what constitutes marching together. What constitutes the marching together? Is it after the dictatorship? What has been achieved with the victim, with the reparations, with the justice? Then with the reconciliation, is it that? Is it the statistics data on social mobility? For completely, from what we had before. The achievement, is it the thousands of homes built for the people, for the civil service? What else? Is it the transformation that in now 60 years we are feeding ourselves? We don't import rice anymore. We are exporting rice. We don't import flour anymore, but we have various form of grains and this thing, to even export. What have we achieved? Then the middle of it, that's it. Then commemorate, thanks, and whatever it is. And decorate the people that that represented us in those institutions or areas. Recognition of their efforts. These are the things you expect. The founding fathers have not, the attainments of independence, founding fathers were not mentioned. He had to mention the wives. He had to mention the orders. For him, that's more relevant. What made you be there to celebrate? You forget about that. Honorable MC Cham, who is here with us, and pray for his longitude. Was not even mentioned, had a mention or have a prominence in that celebration today. He should have been the flag bearer of the celebration today. MC Chan. Less than 40 nights ago or 60 nights ago, Alaji Kalilu Singate, who was, apart from MC, who was the only survivor of people that went to Marlborough House to sign on our independence. I did not have a mention. It would have been appropriate that day. I don't know, the street that Alaji, this things to declare that street, Alaji Kalilu Singate's street or way or whatever, wherever he lives. And make sure we have a blue plaque that to say this is one of our founding fathers and probably all the founding fathers where they ever their last lived. We put a blue plaque for them. That's how you celebrate something. But nil. Talking about school education, which is a lie. Go and look at the data. Results. It's not improving. Our curriculum is not reflective to the needs for development. Where's math, science, and technology? Where? Most of the classrooms are built by a charity foundation. Putting names of different forms of universities does not make you build those universities or make those universities relevant. One university we have, the University of Gambia, we should have made sure they are capacitated to the max before thinking of minister of this, minister of university. Those all things should be faculties within the University of Gambia. But just to say that I had, since I came, I put 4 more universities. Where are they? When students cannot even afford data bytes to do their research. It's a failure. But let's move on. As I said, I want to keep it brief as possible, but we already got into the hour. Where I want to close this celebration would be is on the presence of the Bissau president. Just a minute. The presence of the Bissau president and Senegal. Our strategic partnership with Senegal is not of choosing. It's not of choosing. We are not choosing to be strategically linked to Senegal. And let me make this clear. People always rush. Oh, no, I am not saying that Senegal is more important to us. I am saying that we are so important, but we are so much important to Senegal as Senegal is so much important to us. I hope that captured it. Now, our strategy in link with Senegal is not our choosing. It's something created by the Almighty. Land and every other thing. But if it comes to governance, it's something we cultivate to make sure we represent our interests, make sure Senegal will be representing their interests. But if we manage to represent our interests and have the capacity and the credible leadership to sit on the table, then we can discourse and partnership and whatever it is for a mutual interest. Then it will be the true concept of the Senegambia, true concept of the Domindailen, true concept of everything. If we fail, Gambians, to make sure we have leaders who have the credibility, who have the competency, who have the love for country to represent our interests, we cannot blame Senegal for moving forward. We cannot blame Senegal for taking advantage on us. We can't. We can't do that. Why am I saying this? As I said, our relations with Senegal, I can go on many aspects to explain why it's a strategic importance for us. But again, for anyone with common sense can get that. But what we are talking, what we are against, and that is not against Senegal, we are against our leaders being subservient to Senegal. We are not a vassal state. We are an independent, especially if we are to celebrate it, we should be a sovereign, independent democracy. But for the selfish interest of Barrow and people around him, his administration, they don't care. They don't care. Hence, that if the Senegalese government protects them, or promise to protect them, because they cannot protect them if Gambians don't want that peace to happen, they are willing to give Senegal anything. That's a discussion for another day. The reason we fail our oil exploration, I can tell you, part is this government being corrupt and complicit in allowing Macky Sall to control the narrative. This is what happened. But it's a discussion for another day. Now, for his prolongment to power, Barrow would do anything. He would try any advances. And I can tell you he's been trying many advances. He's been sending intermediaries, running to Sonko, trying to get Sonko on board, and so on. And Sonko has been showing that Pan-Africanists. Look, we have no problems with you. Whatever happens, bygones be bygones. But what we're saying that this is the principles we want to apply. We are ready to work with you guys. We are ready to do this, but we are not. We will not entertain anything, which is not right between these nations. This is how, because Macky doesn't care. Macky got his people, get them businesses, got the so-called OIC hotel, got other businesses, deals, Kalulu Wage, and others to do everything they want. Pledge. Got the contracts for the fisheries. Pledge our resources, and allowed and acting as the Swiss of Africa, allowing the looting of our nations and be stored in Senegal, and building buildings and other things in Senegal. That's what Macky allowed. Now, Adama Barrow is not comfortable. That's why, again, the same people he working with, that's why they brought that non-entity they call an opposition leader. He's not an opposition leader. He have never won anything, have never represented anything. Bugan Dani. This is it. Now, he's not comfortable with the Senegalese government, knowing that this government is not ready to allow him to work with him in order to suppress us, order to loot our elections, to loot our resources. They are not ready, complicit in that. I can tell you that. They are not interested. What Barrow is interested in. They want to have a mutual relationship and understanding. To the extent of Usman Sonko said it himself, we want to have joint partnership in the oil explorations, because he knows that all our prospects, go and look the geology and look at all the mapping for Gambia prospects, onshore, offshore, they are all between the boundaries of Gambia and Senegal. When it happens in any country, it will end up being a joint venture. But Macky Sall keep it that way so that they can, in fact, Gambia would never explore ours, or even in a joint venture, but they would take as much they want. The Sangomar, if any competent government was in place, the Sangomar could not have been exploited without Gambia determining, sitting to negotiate and determine whether there's any percentage that will be coming from our sovereignty. It did not happen because Macky Sall was in control. And they use far energy. The minute FAR finished their deals and everything, they left the Gambia with no penalties because everything was arranged. That's a discussion for another day. And to tell you what evidence corroborate this, Senegal boundaries with Mauritania. If you go to Senegal, you go to Saint Louis. I've been. It's technically, even the drilling platforms are in Saint Louis. You touch it, they're 100 meters away offshore, Saint Louis. They had a joint venture with the Mauritanians. In Bissau, before Mbalo Sissoko, they were negotiating. Senegal gave a proposal for 70-30. Bissau said no. And Bissau set up a committee to negotiate, to study and negotiate. What happened? Mbalo came and signed with Senegalese president without approval from parliament, giving Senegal something of region of 80-20 or 70, whatever they distinct to the advantage of Senegal. And these were one of the pressures that was happening. Parliament was trying to impeach him on this. This was part, not only because he fell out with his drug cartel, but this another part. That's why he staged that coup. After staging that coup, staged that false coup, Senegalese commandos were in the state house, and they staged the coup with the Senegalese intelligence and the loyalist Bissau soldiers against the opponents of the cartel, and used that as a pretext to re-invite ECOMIC to Bissau. Now, this is the situation. If Bissau can negotiate partnership under Macky Sall for Mauritania and for Bissau, but not us, because of they don't need to. Barrow is clueless. Barrow is selfish. Barrow doesn't care. Let him just be free. He can do anything, and election comes just as the last election 2021. Part of the Senegalese intelligence, I told Gambians so much they didn't listen. They were part of the manipulators, exactly as they did in Senegal. They pluck out numbers. Your votes did not matter. And now these are the dilemmas he had. He cannot have all these guarantees anymore. Mbalo. That's why he is partners in Mbalo, because Mbalo cannot give him anything or do anything for him. But anyway, they are all drowning. In this form from different rivers. They're just trying to compensate each other. That's why this is the sitting arrangement and everything. There's a difficult relationship with Senegal, because what he wants cannot, due to, again, as I said, this thing of geopolitics we have, and Gambians. This is why the opposition should be waking up onto this, to prepare for our future without Barrow, but knowing that Barrow will do anything in order to stay. But he's not strong. We can take him on if we are ready to do that. And that's the only thing that will save us. Any day more that Barrow in that place, I tell you, we are losing our sovereignty. And we are going into, it's not, what I'm saying here is, I'm not saying that Barrow will not go without our unity. Barrow will go. We might not want that. You see, if I had time, I'll go into history again to tell you how democracy evolved in the United Kingdom to what it is now even. And it's not a perfect democracy, to what it is. Because after the aristocrats had to understand the danger of isolating the people, not being in touch. The aristocrat used to rule this country. They didn't have a democracy. They didn't born with the democracy. Women were not allowed to vote. Women were not allowed to inherit. And that's not even over 100 years ago. They had a one-party system after they had two-party system, and those two-party systems were all by aristocrats. The people don't matter. You had the conservative, which was from medieval aristocratic party. That's why they call themselves conservative. You have the liberals, who were aristocrats, but who had a little bit of empathy. because they were industrialists. They built up and contesting position. They call themselves the liberals because they want to move away from some of these practices. But it wasn't improved. They had they imposed in their democracy, evolution of their democracy, an unelected house of parliament. What they call the House of Lords. Just imagine that, House of Lords, the Lords. And it was inherited. You serve and die, your son or daughter will take over. They had positions for bishops to stay, to maintain their claim for conservative values. The laws from the lower house had to go through the upper house, which was unelected and still unelected. Because of the evolution of democracy, the cry out and everything now is diluted in a sense. Now it's not hereditary peers. Now it's the opposition select members and the government party select members. Depend on because obviously you form government if you have more seats. Depend on the seats you have in parliament, you select that amount of some numbers to correspond to represent at the house and the seat. Because why did they do that? Because they realized that the people were revolting. They don't want that revolt. But again, with the space of democracy, look, democracy is not perfect. But what it creates an environment for people to have the freedoms and able to justify and fight. That's why even it doesn't end to the ballot box. No. After the ballot box, if you are not pleased, you are given the right to demonstrate. Every weekend, UK here, people are demonstrating against UK foreign policy in Iraq, in Palestine. Every weekend. Over a year, people are coming out. The police are spending so much money to police it, but still people, they cannot ban it. That's why we call for democracy. It's not perfect, but give us the space to evolve. This evolution of democracy, what did it do? It brought out the Labour Party. Labour Party as the People's Party. The industrialists as liberal were using the people as people represented, but they were themselves what elites of aristocrats, landowners. When we say aristocracy here, means a lot more. They will own regions by virtue of their birthright, by virtue of where their family was when one king or one queen dominated power. A family. They call themselves liberals. And the people who were working, the labor force, decided that they needed unions, but unions were not enough. They said, we have to be on top there, part of the executive, in order to make our lives better. That's how the Labour Party came about. And when the Labour Party came about, obviously they pulled the rug from the Liberal Party. What happened to the Liberal Party? They died off because their base was the workers, people who were working for them, the industries, the unions they were negotiating with, fooling them. The Labour Party came, they had to, get out of politics. The liberals were kind of they're capitalists taking a bit of Karl Marx here or there. That's why Karl Marx ended up in UK. But from there on, the liberal came back in another way as calling themselves the Liberal Democrats. Trying to have a center ground between the Labour Party, the left, and the Conservative, the right. Then the ordinary these things were more known to be ordinary voters for the Labour. The middle class was the deciding vote. They look at policies, which policy they feel favor them much for their pensions, their working conditions, their savings, their housings, and house market. And they will tilt support. That's why we have the two-party system here. You have the Labour Party, or you end up having the Conservative. Part of the evolution. But the people keep on fighting in many forms. Remember, then the ethnic minorities started to grow. And the ethnic minorities started to find their home, and naturally as a labor position. As a labor position. Guess what? You have the unions supporting labor. Unions, people contribute and pass it into labor, support them. Labor, championing their interests. The labor brought the National Health Service. Labor brought many, very progressive things. Then in the Conservative to stay in power, they had to move to the middle. Now, it becomes an idea that you have to be in the middle in order to win elections in the UK. Now, again, why am I saying this? Showing the people. Now, the people were forcing them to make sure they align to them in order for them to win elections. But what happened recently? Democracy got hijacked in the Americas. Democracy is being hijacked in the United Kingdom here. The Russian intelligence undermined democracy. Russian intelligence used money because of the generation of Brits we have, be it conservative or liberal or labor, they are entirely selfish. They have no patriotism in them. Even their founding fathers might be prejudiced, but one thing they have in common was they have belief of their country. But these people we have here will sell their mothers for nothing. And I want we to learn from this. It's current to Gambia, you know. I'll come to Gambia. Now, this hijack of Russians makes sure, in fact, the power we had, they undermine our unity, social cohesion. And this is where the far right started. And this is how we had the far right. We call the UKIP, United Kingdom Party for Independence, or whatever we call them, who were against being in the European Union. And they supported them, and those people influenced, became a catalyst for the conservative who were in power to go and uselessly promise and referendum, and they went through the referendum and they lose. Since then, what happened? Now the Zionists saw the effect, how powerful that was. Now, be the Labour Party, be the Conservative, are bought by the Zionists. The Zionists have determined whoever would lead those parties. Not more Brits. Brits are no more doing it. How did they do that? They bought the media. They run the media. Today is very likely to have a far right, a Nazi sympathizer to run UK. I can tell you 20 years ago, if you said that to a Brit, they will tell you, you must be mad. Because the National Front, the all fringe, far right, these things were at the fringe. They cannot even win a council election. Today, they are third in number in parliament. And now the Conservative, as we know it, have a black representative who hates herself more than the far right hates her. But he's championing their rights, their agenda. They will use her to the last, and they put her away. They can never see a black woman run them, and they will bring their candidate. And what happened is the left, what we call as the left, what was left of the Labour Party, they lost influence, they lost power because of what? Most people who were supporting them, they consider themselves liberal. Liberal in a sense of liberal in markets and others, but they were not liberal in their thoughts and beliefs. Be it Christians, be it Muslims, were enraged and dissolute because of the policy of the LGBT and the gender. And what happened is they lost ground because many Muslims anymore don't feel aligned to the policies of the labor, aligned to that labor position. The Christian Africans and others, even the European Christians don't ally with the LGBT promotion, and Labour lost. They lost the support. Now, how this is relevant to Gambia? What we have now is we have government that's not determined by the people. Just as I said, that's what end up here. Now, the people don't determine the government. It's the billionaires that determine the government. It's the Zionists that determine the government. It's the Russians that determine the government. You go and have them, giving them millions to run. Finding ways to do it, even with the laws we have. Now, the MPs are calling out, or activists are calling out, look, we have to update our laws. Because Elon Musk have threatened to put in millions to make sure his choice will be voted for. His choice will be voted for. In the Gambia, this is what we have. We have oligarchs. We have the Mohammed Dias. We have the Jar Oils. We have the Ababakar Jawaras. You have any indesirable enemy. We have drug dealers. Yes. Drug dealers. I am making this accusation here again. And if Henry Gomez wants to sue, let him sue or challenge me. Henry Gomez is using young girls in the Gambia to ferry blocks of cocaine. Henry Gomez from the State House. The reason Henry Gomez came that period to appease the UDP, saying, "Oh, I ask for forgiveness," or this. He is so much in depth in now. He doesn't want any political rivalry to surface. He might hear this and act on political rivalry because he is selling drugs as they come. He's using young girls to ferry drugs for him in the Gambia. Drug dealers, everything else now. That's why you see the money. Can you tell you see the correlation now? Now they can build the buildings they're building for their head offices is far more than any institution we have. Not clinics, not police station, not everything. They build it. Vehicles are coming as what? Money is being thrown as what? It's not money that is budgeted. It's money coming from illicit operations. It's money coming from the cartel, the business cartel that are giving advantage. Mohammed is giving advantage even now to force our farmers to sell to him. To sell through him, sorry. Sell through him, going through him. Why can't the market be open for competitive bidding? We have a lot of tech, fintechs in the Gambia now. They could have, have choice, but they are not given choice. They were forced, you have to do Q money. We have seen today, again, they said that the GRA have signed a memorandum of understanding for what efficient tax collection, and which Ajit Bank, the same as QCell. We have seen Ababakar Jawa giving our forest and been caught with weapon importation, been giving our mines, without declaring the proceeds and everything and others. We have seen the monopoly given to Jar Oil and other businesses. Now, they prop him. Now, they are using the lack of awareness in our society. They're using the hunger that they put into our people in buying votes, doing everything. I think this would be a discussion for another day. Let me just get to the Masembe. I think it's a right point to get to the Masembe by election. Now, this is very important. I have not been advocate for the Masembe but at the beginning for one reason. One reason. And today, it was confirmed me today. I was surprised. I was thinking that, Masembe is 5,000 votes. Well, still 5,000 votes is nothing. I was saying 5,000. It's not even 2,000 votes. Do Gambians realize that all this battleground they created is less than 2,000 votes? Actually, it's 1,170 something. Let me check from my sources. Yeah, it's 1,100 and something. They responded to me. I don't know where it is. But I will, okay, let me do this. Okay, 1,753. It's 1,753. But now, let's ask ourselves, by elections, why did NPP turn it to a battleground? And don't call me biased. I'm talking based on facts. We saw 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, delegation from Banjul, Deputy Speaker Sidin Jai and others, Lamin Cham and others. And as they were there, I even saw UDP guys panicking, saying that let our guys go out there, let our guys go out there. And I assume, let me emphasize, I assume, I don't know what UDP think. I assume UDP think it's just a ward election. It's our seat. It's only less than 2,000 votes. We can go there and we'll secure it, we'll win. But when they see the pressure being put out there, the ferrying people going around there fighting for it, it becomes a battleground for them. It was brought to them. By-elections, it's a disgrace. I'll give you a history perspective. The by-elections I can remember. And again, we have to look at history. When I saw Sidin Jai, I know he's not a political historian or doesn't have any capacity in politics or history for that matter. That shows you how empty that person is to be deputy speaker. In Gambia, in Bakau, the most memorable by-election, and this is not what I read from a book, something during my presence as a child, I can remember. And looking at all this thing here, I can tell you there's another by-election, and we'll talk about that. Those 2 by-elections I know of, competitive. And this was a parliamentary. Bakau, we had a candidate. Bakau used to be PPP. We had the son of the Imam, Imam Jai. He was called A.B. Jai. He was called A.N. Jai. He was called A.N. Jai or A.B. Jai. A.N. Jai, Abdul Jai or something. He was our MP. Then we have one of the young guys who was called Bunding Kamara. Bunding Kamara was a young Bakayuan who came back from Uppsala University, graduate, and this was in late 70s. He was popular, he was young, educated, popular, he was a handsome, young, tall guy, you know, he was with the youths and everything. He came and contested for the Akenjai, thank you very, Akenjai, thank you. Bunding, we call him Bunding, may his soul rest in peace, came and contested for the NCP. Young graduate back from, from studies, very popular, and he contested for the NCP. Because of his candidature, it was not Akenjai was a bad representative or people don't like the PPP, no. When it comes to, after 82, when they started having presidential elections, Jawara always win with a big margin. But when it comes to parliamentary, NCP will win. It's because of the choice of candidate. Now, we have that candidate, Bunding, and overwhelmingly, people came out and voted for Bunding. Because of his youthfulness, because of his education, because of his popularity, across the board, people voted for him. He win. Unfortunately, he had an accident at the Old Cape Road, and with friends, and he passed away. I think he was the only one who passed away in the group. The people like Koto, the former alcali's brother, Surwa Jaite and others were there. Unfortunately, he was the only one who passed away. Obviously, we have to go to by-elections. In the by-elections, PPP got another candidate called Sute Bojang. And I think Sute is a cousin to Dembo by force, Dembo Bojang. Now, Sute and Dembo might be, I think they're cousins. People say they're cousins, and they might be cousins, but let's say they all come from the same environment. Dembo Bojang was working at the agricultural department as an agricultural extension worker or something of that precision. He was liked. And because of the euphoria and support for Bunding, the former candidate, they came out to support him. Not only because of his credit, but he maintained the support because of people who supported Bunding see it as a replacement of Bunding in a sense of as a candidate. It was a contest that the PPP should not have even contested. And I'll give you an example of that. But when it happened, it was a contested election. This is where the name Dembo by force came from. Dembo was kind of hesitant, knowing that he's not popular as Bunding, and he doesn't want to take a leave from work and lose the elections and be victimized into the systems. He was assured by Bakau that we will put you there by force. This is where the Dembo by force came out. It's not to his credit, but it was the credit of Bunding. We kind of have a covenant, Bakau with Dembo, to make him Dembo by force. I can remember, I was still young. A strategy. You see, that's why I say buying votes and say, this is not new. The NCP had to use was, they collected the voter cards of anyone who was willing to give it to them for safeguard. They collected and counted, and the people who were willing to give their voter cards to say Dembo by force, to assure Dembo, was far more, to decide the vote, knowing that if hence these people have volunteered to give, it's a guarantee we're going to win the elections. This is where the Dembo by force came about. I can still remember being young. That's why when we talk about politics, it's not something that we read. We were there when most of these things were happening. We were there when they taught us these things were discussed. Gambian politics is not well written. I was there, I can remember, just by the cinema, just few meters away from the polling booth. There used to be a kind of a bar, what do we call a bar, like a hut. There's a guy called a farmer who used to do this, showing this, juju and stuff like that. At the farmer, they took over the farmer set at the Johnson. And in the open there, that's where they come in. Suleiman Soare, they look at it, they give you a card, you sign that, you took in your card, you go and vote. And I think some people were even giving back their voter card to be whole. I am not going to name the person who came 2 nights before the election. But let me just say, he was a former vice president for the PPP. They came that night. They came in a Land Rover. They were hounded that night to leave Bakau. Hounded to leave Bakau. They came in a Land Rover saying that they have money, they're going to buy the cars, knowing that the cars are already gone, but still Bakau came out and hound them, and they got them out. Between 10 p.m. to midnight. Around that time, I can remember, they were handed out. Because at that time, we don't have social media. Social media was in the streets. Everything that happened, people come out and voice, and people will gather and talk about it. That was a competitive election. PPP want to run that, to take it off, because to maintain Bakau. The dynamics of Bakau being opposition, it's something else. They want to take the fire out. Because apart from Bakau, Badibu was only NCP stronghold. They don't want NCP to have a stronghold. They want to sit there, they want to take the seat. This is why they were forcing to get that seat, doing everything. Dembo won, and Dembo by force kept that name and kept that legacy until he betrayed the Bakau people. Now he's irrelevant in Bakau. You see the reason? Now you ask yourself then, why Bakau, I give you the reason why Bakau meant so much for the PPP to fight for it. You go. Why did I say that in normal circumstances, even in a democracy, you might not run for that? It's just empathy. It happened here, United Kingdom. Joe Cox, a female MP, was shot dead. The Conservative, the Liberal, even the UKIP, far right, decided not to run against the standing candidate for replacing Joe Cox. And it was a parliamentary seat. And parliamentary seats mean a lot here because of the parliamentary votes to have your legislation passed. They withdrew. None of these senior parties participated. Some independents participated. But that's to guarantee that the seat stays with them. That's one. The other by-election we had in the Gambia, which is memorable, was in Basse. I think Basse Mansayang, if I'm right, don't quote me on that. It was Buba Balde's seat. Buba Balde make a deal with PPP because Buba Balde stood as an independent because Buba Balde wanted to stand as a PPP candidate. He was not selected. PPP selected one, and you know, all these places, people can easily be cousins. Selected someone else. I can't remember the name, that's why I'm not gonna, but I believe someone was saying their cousin. Buba won the elections as independent because he was popular, you know, charismatic, may his soul rest in peace. But latter part, Buba went and made a deal with PPP because the PPP wanted that seat for Omar Sy, the former foreign affairs minister. May his soul rest in peace. Why Omar Sy? Because the PPP were trying to deny Andrews Camara to have a base in Basse. Now, if they make sure that Buba, who was seen to likely join Andrews, because Buba's father Michael and Andrews Camara they are called brothers. They did everything together. And most people said the influence what Buba had is because of Andrew Kamara gave him, or Andrew Kamara was instrumental in Buba running the Freedom from Hunger campaign. But Buba decided to run for independence rather than run for Andrews Kamara. But they thinking that Buba might go for Andrews. What they did, they made the deal. Then if you miss 2 parliamentary or 3 parliamentary sitting without reason, given a reason for it, you'll be expelled. And your seat will become vacant and it can be put on as a by-election. Buba deliberately went to Sierra Leone to stay there. Part of the deal so that the seat will be vacant. Then they can go by-election and Buba will campaign for Omar Sy. But at that time it was the next election, this was after the 82 election. For the next election, he would run. They will give him another constituency to run in Basse and support it under the PPP. And if he wins, he will be a minister. And this is how it turned out. Buba stayed out after the period expired. He was expelled in parliament. He went and campaigned for Omar Sy. Omar Sy won, and Omar Sy became the external affairs minister. Now the influence, Omar Sy influence and everything overshadowed the GPP of Andrews Camara. Then obviously Andrews failed to have a seat, and that's how they decapitated Andrews in politics. That's how they deprecated Andrews out of politics. May his soul rest in peace. He was a great person. Now Buba waited for his time. The 82, the next 5 years, that's 87 elections, I believe. My math is not good. Buba ran for PPP and won, and he came into cabinet. You see the Gambian politics? That's why we need to know the history. Now, apart from that, I cannot remember a by-election that was kind of that made relevant. But it's only made relevant because of the senior party. That's the party in government wants it. Yes, there are other by-elections that happen under Jammeh, and they are very significant. I have to touch on that because of history. This was when the opposition came and formed NAT. Certain candidates were expelled. I cannot remember top of my head. I think Jammeh, Kemes and Jammeh was part of them, but I think 2 or 3 were expelled because of, they said that the party had no, cannot hence the party, these things, and they run under that party, they could not, they were expelled. Then they had a by-elections. And guess what? The opposition wins this by-election. And when the opposition win the by-election, what happened? You see, Jammeh knew that if they ever came together, and this is what Barrow knew that whenever these people come together, they'll kick him out. Because it's even going to be difficult to steal elections. When that happened, guess what Jammeh did? He went and changed the constitution so that the 50+1 would not apply. Even though 50+1, if did not apply, even if they had come together, they would have the chance. But obviously, with all that strategies Jammeh used, they make sure the political parties have never came together again until 2016 when we managed it. That's another history of by-elections. But let's look at this by-election. Masembe. Masembe is less than 2,000. It's 1,753. It's a ward. A ward don't vote at the legislature. The ward take a vote in the council. There's someone, I cannot, it's plausible, that's why I'm explaining. Someone said that he was told by, and so, that someone I think is Ibrahim Adiba, if I'm right. Ibrahim Adiba of UDP, that someone within the NPP camp said to him, look, the reason we want to win this, I'm not discounting it. He said the reason we want to win this, so that when this person goes into parliament, into the council, they will have the numbers in order to discourage the development of the area by the landing Sane. Because, you know, the council have to work together to do it. They will be destructive. This is what he said, which can be very true. The reason it can be very true, I'll explain it. But I can tell you the main things that I am thinking. The reason for this, for that controversy, is this. Now they turn it to a battleground. Gambians, I can tell you, even political followers would not have known about the ward elections if it was not for NPP. I'm not biased, because that's what transpired. The minute NPP started to go in there, sitting there with delegations, and people started to publish it, and it kind of rattled some supporters of UDP, started to say, where are our people? Let our people go out there. The executive should be there. Dabo should be there. This person should be there. And this was about 3 weeks ago. Every time you see them, different. Now the ministers are almost every minister. I'm sorry, not saying every minister. Someone just said the health minister was there. My brother is a politician now. He's not a doctor anymore. I mean, he could have stayed and just be perfect. The health minister, the other ministers. I have not seen the finance minister. I have not seen the higher education minister. I have not seen the lower education minister, basic education minister. But I think apart from those, or the defense minister and interior minister, but apart from those, I think the others have been there. And the vice president too. But even the parties that say that they are part of coalition, CA and others, we saw them there. They went out there. Now, UDP don't have a choice. They have to go out there. Now, why would NPP want to fight this out? Why? NPP want to fight this out for a reason. Because of Barrow have declared that he want to run for third term. NPP want to psychologically use this and win it, knowing that it is not significant. And this is what we need to educate the people. It's not a significant seat. It's not it cannot be a measure. It cannot be a measure of ballot popularity or lack of popularity. If UDP wins, it's a UDP seat. But what Barrow have done unintendedly is, if UDP maintain this seat, then Barrow have just turned himself to be a turkey in Christmas. You know, because what happens now is, with all the money, yes, money, because they have come out in the open, saying that they promised a visa, saying that they're giving this much money. That did not persuade the UDP to lose their candidate. That's already a win. That's already a win. Let's UDP see it that as a win. There's a lesson to be learned, and we talk about that. But for the amount of ministers, amount of so-called diplomats coming all over, and so much of their so-called influencers been paying for those people to come. Where is those funds coming from? Now, how much they spend for these people to fly in? And if any one of them tell you that they pay for themselves, they're lying. They're lying. Who paid for them is NPP. Who taking care of them is NPP. Some of them have been given places to stay. Vehicles, petrol, these things. And all this campaign. And you know that the local will be given money. The locals will be given money. All this money, how much thousands it is. Now they turn it to a battleground for them, one, to use as an impression that, oh, third time, Barrow is still, we put you there to run, you are popular. You see, they might use this to try to, massage the egos of Barrow. And some of these people, because of they are from Kiang, they have always been losing or cannot make impressive numbers for support. They want to use this again because they are kind of push away, showing that you have no influence even from where you come from. The Fabus and orders and orders and orders. They'll turn around to say, Barrow, you see, we are coming back this time round. When we get to the presidency, this we're going to do. You have to give us more money. Some of them will do that. Some of them will do that. Try to use this as a cycle. But again, this is, I said, they have played their hands too much. Now, if they did not maintain this seat, they can be turned out as, look, you are this. And if they even win with a small margin, this is only 1,750. I can tell you, however strong UDP is, if Barrow had any ounce of anything, 1,700 with all that money, you would be able to win. Why? You should be able to win. But does not make you great. That doesn't make indication of anything. That seat cannot decide anything. Apart from what Ibrahim Adiba said, to be destructive, to go into council and make sure you vote anything against the chairman not to progress, so that they can blame the chairman for achieving anything. Now, they will do this to impress him. They will do this to get something out of it. They will do this to save themselves. They will do this again to say that this is why Barrow have to run. It's stupid. It doesn't do that. Now, as I said, the UDP is forced to fight back. Can they maintain it? Yes. And if they maintain this, it should be a lesson. How did they manage to maintain this? Hence they have maintained their candidate until tonight, or until I see the candidate run. Because I don't know the candidate. I'm not disrespecting the candidate, UDP candidate, for anything. I'm saying that these people can wake up in the morning and take $5 million to this man. $10 million is to make a point. But the man might be who he is and said no. But he might succumb. That's why I said until I see him run and finish. If UDP maintain that, that's an achievement. Because for a councillor even in the capitals, young man, promise of Canada, promise of 500,000, promise of other things, they might be swayed. They might be swayed. We have seen UDP MPs in parliament sway for what? Or if you lose, we will give you a job. And they did. Because they believe in nothing. But this guy might blame something, or UDP might do a good selection in this and they can be lesson. But the lesson I don't want UDP to try to draw out of this, because of they maintain it. I don't want them to think that we don't need anyone. We're still popular. We don't need anyone. We still got our people support us. No, don't do that. As I said, I believe the last election was stolen. And the reason why Barrow was able to do it is because, not because of only UDP fail to put in the mechanism, but UDP alone cannot put the mechanisms. The most important thing about coalition to fight this election is not about bringing mobilize. It's part of it, but I tell you, the most important thing is to make sure Barrow leaves power. Even if UDP managed to win, again, to be voted for win, I tell you, to last minute, they would not, nobody from IEC would announce that UDP have win. But I can tell you, and whatever comes out of it, I cannot predict that. I'm not playing UDP strength this thing, but I'm telling you, it will be a bigger challenge. But if any competent, let me emphasize, competent coalition come together, coalitions can happen. Any competent coalition come together and win, Barrow IEC would declare. The same reason Alhaji Momajai declared the coalition win is because of the people were united front, and he and his people realized that they cannot pull this one off. For me, that's the most important thing in a coalition, to make sure we get that. And if we build a coalition earlier as possible, we even gain more. Because we put the spirit there, you know, because one of the reasons, even after we took out the 300,000 votes stolen, and again, if a coalition come out, there might be other strategies to stop many of the fraud. That's what coalition does. Many different players will be active, knowing that there's a chance to win. And this is why we just won by a margin of 16,000. If the coalition was built about 6 weeks before elections, 8 weeks before elections, October, I think, started building. We had election 4th of December. About less than 8 weeks. If we had it far earlier, you'll be surprised how many people did not register to vote, or how many people did not bother to find their voter cards or renew their voter cards. This time around, if we do it very early, this is what will happen. People that have never bothered to register, they will register. Make it, and you know, more Gambians register, make it more difficult for non-Gambians to register. Because again, registration have to tally with the population census. There are many things that goes before elections happen at the ballot box. Because we know what happened last time. They pluck out numbers. Your votes were not counted, or whatever counted did not translate it to this. IEC announced what they want to announce. You think they will have the audacity when they see that unity of force? You think the security police, PIU for that matter, that's what they rely on? You think that the PIU and not the entire PIU, some of them are just acting because of they see the fabulous in the opposition? You think if they see the dynamics of power, the likeliness of winning elections, everything, you think those PIU will not think of their tomorrow? This is the psychology that we need to form a coalition, not only that people will come and vote. And obviously that will be another part of it. But there's so much added benefits. Now, let UDP don't think that, oh, we managed with everything Barrow did, we win this, and we don't even need anybody to support us on our grounds. No, that'll be a mistake. And if Barrow wins this, UDP should learn that it does not matter. It's just experience the desperation of Barrow to put all these resources, I mean the money, the people, everything, the statements, the attack and everything, for 1,750 votes, however number they win it with, it doesn't matter, because of it's not representative of what they can do in other places. No. Let that make the UDP jitter, thinking that, oh, they're losing their grassroots. No. But they can learn a lesson. And that lesson would be how to improve on your grassroots. You have proven, UAP have proven, after the presidential elections, they're still holding onto their grassroots. In many areas, even they got more votes than they had in the presidency. But that's not enough. As always we have said, there's no political party on earth, unless it's a dictatorship, that have more members than the electing voter number. If you have 1 million, know that there are 3 million voting. Then every political party would need, if you want to meet, to broaden your base, to guarantee you win, but to broaden your base to guarantee any suppressions, voter suppressions that will come to you. And voter suppressions are many. There are suppressions that happen before, during registration, before registration, after registration, during election day, after elections. There are so many suppressions, that strategies that happens. That's why you need to broaden, you need to build your capacity, you need to build your structures. I'll tell you one strategy. PPP stole elections in Bakau against retired Colonel Sam Silla. Because stealing elections have been here. That's why people say, oh, elections, it's a fallacy. They recognize the voting polling post that will likely vote for Sam Silla. They deliberately, Bakau School, Newtown, and so on, they deliberately delayed the election, the voting. They created technicalities, whatever it is. Voting didn't start till 10 o'clock. And after they brought in some sabotage, delays again, voting had to stop, delays. Guess what? When it was time to stop, they stopped. Many people. I think Sam Silla took a lawyer, Sam George or something of that name. The people who did not vote for Sam Silla and wanted to vote for Sam Silla, they all brought their ballots, the voter cards, and when counted, it's far more than Dembo Bifos would have had. That's the only time Dembo lost election, because Sam Silla at the time was more popular. That was the only time. And Sam Silla was for PPP, but he was still seen as a maverick, because even at the campaign trail, PPP did not want Sam Silla to win. PPP stole the election for the mobile force against Sam Silla. They did not want their own candidate to win, because what Sam Silla represented and what Sam Silla was saying at the elections, at the campaign trail. He was a maverick, knowing that if he goes to parliament, he's going to be something. And they thinking that he might even take over the PPP leadership. They stop him. Now, the lessons the opposition need to learn, and this is not UDP, I mean the opposition. I'm glad, just coming to this thing, I saw Esafal Sobeya have endorsed the candidate. GDC, I think, if I'm right, let me know that a few days ago they have endorsed the UDP. This is very important. Again, this is why I'm saying Barrow have overplayed his hands, and overplaying his hands now is uniting the opposition. I'm not saying this is significantly united this opposition, but it's a start. I think now SR is recognizing, Mama Kenda will be recognizing, look, we have a common rival here as an opposition. And this is part of building trust, building confidence. And I think after this election, UDP can use their leadership in order to turn around to felicitate or to thank the parties that came out to declare their support for their candidate. They can call up a meeting with them. Whether they win the seat or lose it, they should invite these people and sit down with them. And if I sit down with them, I'm saying to start to build trust and confidence. And this trust and confidence should be based on what? Our mutual interest. And the mutual interest is to see our democracy intact, see our election process competent. They can discuss on that. Not about flag bearer or who would lead, who would not lead. That will come after. Because if these things are not done right, even if someone else lead might be a problem. But to start to build this trust to the extent that if one party is touched based on a suppression, based on abuse, the others can have a voice. And I can tell you, if this thing started to happen, I can tell you that Barrow would have started to be controlled. If activists are, selectively being abused, they all can come out and speak and ready to take on Barrow with it. And you see whether change would not start to happen within the systems. I think that's another lesson to learn. That's another overplaying of Barrow's hand. One, I said, overplaying his hands to the extent that if you lose this election, it will even be more damaging than if he had just played it simple and just go local campaign, leave it to local campaign and whatever desire come in and disregard this as not that much relevant. But they brought this thing to be very relevant and they might lose it. Move on to. This is what the opposition should be doing. And why is it matter? Why does it matter? I said I agreed, and that's why I'm going to close this topic here. And I think I'm not going to close the program. I wanted to talk about. I might. Here is I talked about Sister Fatu. I'm saying thank you for your comments. I know I'm not normally good at reading comments because I will be distracted. Thank you guys for your comments. But what I'm saying here is, I said Ibrahima Diba. I believe what Ibrahima Diba said is very plausible, that they want this candidate to go in so that they can undermine Landing Sane's chairman for what he's doing. And Landing have registered a lot. We have seen the Lumo, and I think a little bit more work needed to be done for what they did at the Lumo. I think they can do far more than that, which feedbacks I will share with people who are close to Landing. And I've seen the hostel and all the things being done. And that's an improvement. We have seen Basse cannot even technically pay salaries. Just as what happened Birkama when it was under the NPP. They cannot even pay salaries. Can you believe that? With the new build market and the vibrance of Basse and everything, they cannot even pay salaries. They are taking overdrafts. And they're not giving any services for that matter. But the president would dare condemn the councils under the UDP. To the extent that the president and the people advocating on behalf of the president would say that if you don't vote for a candidate, development will not come to you. This is exactly what Jammeh was telling people. If you don't vote for us, development is not coming to you. Now that would prove what Ibrahim Adiba said. That these people want this guy to go into sabotage. Development will not come to you. Is that democratic? But not only that. We saw the signing that Taliban should have did with the Chinese company to build the roads and drainages. We saw the signing of the agreement, this thing, we saw the design and everything. That project is stalled because of what? The NRA are politically influenced not to give it a go-ahead, so that the government, NPP, can say that they haven't done anything. You see, what Wolof said, this, instead of creating a conducive environment, a competitive environment, that's what Democrats do. Whoever performs better and the people prefer that person takes. That's what patriotic citizens do. We want to make a competitive environment. Whoever can do better, let them do better. And then it will be people's choice and you go and do something else. But no, they are not doing better and they don't want anyone to do better. To say, oh, we are all the same. And this was the same message the Macky Sall desperately trying to sell. Oh, politicians are all the same. Even Imam Sonko would be the same. No, that's a lie. We are not all the same. But not only that, for years, unconstitutionally, the government is failing to pay the subventions to the councils. Now, we have seen what Youngs Dabo have been doing. Since he came, they have paid off the debts they owe. He have brought in, paid for the refuse vehicles and performing that. this is the second time he's paying subventions from the council tax to the ward development funds. But still now, Brikama is not getting the subvention that government is collecting tax from. Not KMC, not Brikama, not any council. Where's the money gone? Now, this is a lesson to show what the opposition is against. I am not here praising any of them of job well done. If you give me an appraisal to appraise even individually, that's a different ballgame. But I am doing here is to present to contrast of what is happening with Barrow's councils. There should be improvement in all these councils far more than what they're doing now, especially those on their second term. At least youngs will understand this is fourth term. But the opposition should realize this. Barrow is not doing it because of its UDP. Barrow would do it with anybody who is genuine opposition to challenge him. We all have seen the minute SFR went to criticize him critically, not disrespect, critically, guess what? You see how they came out on SFR. That tells you that if any opposition goes against Barrow, genuine opposition, Barrow would do anything. He will not stay within the boundaries of law. He will do anything to get you out of sight. A dictatorship. This is why when I spoke earlier and looking at Guinea, what transpired in Guinea-Bissau, and said be careful, seeing what Macky Sall did, I said be careful. Barrow is ready to do the same because they are in the same corner. They are all captured by drug cartels, they are all captured by corrupt individuals, and they have squandered a lot. And if we allow them, the human rights abuses will follow. That will let me into the next. I will do this very brief, guys. I'm supposed to go out and I'm already late. I was thinking of an hour, it's gone 2 hours, but this part is very important too. I'll come into it. Yeah. Something is happening here. You see, I don't come in the open to tell people what I'm facing from behind the scenes. Recently, you saw someone came out to insult my parents and everything. The reason I only tag that person to acknowledge it, it's not him. It's the person, people he tagged along. The people he tagged along. He tagged along presidential advisors. He tagged along Sidinjai and others. That's the reason I attack it. I didn't say much. I just said, look, this is what happened. That's it. I know what I know. I know what I'm going to do. When they tried their advances, not to me, they went into where they know people I have respect with or people I have contact with. They find out because people I really have contact with, they are not the people I'm how to call it, interacting on social media. Most people I'm interacting on social media, it's just whatever we're doing here. But my private life, people are really there to mine are not social media friends. They reach out. I've never said this intentionally like I'm telling you guys, because I know more is going to come out. They reach out to those people, offering, God knows, for me to be silenced. Not even to support Barrow. For me to decide, just to say, oh, I'm giving up on the struggle and go and do my thing. But they did their research well done, because the people they went to are people. They know that they can have influence on me, but they don't know. What they don't know is the respect those people have for me. They did not come to me to tell me that, oh, there's an offer here. Because they came and they told me what transpired. They said, this is what transpired. We told them, look, you just don't know this guy. And it will be a big disrespect for me to tell, and this is not one person, to go and tell this person this. I can dare not disrespect him because I know what values he stood for. He's not doing this because of hate or anything. He's not doing it for any other reason. And you think if it is because of money he will be doing this? Not one of the people they approach came to me for the respect and knowing who I am. They tried. When they tried their intimidation, that they're going to take me to court. Barrow is gonna take a lawyer and take me to court here. That Ibrahim Sankare is running away from Gambia. I'll tell you guys why he's lying, saying he's going for a PhD to India. All place India. If I wanted that, the people around me would know that. But the people around me know who I am, and they know what access would I have to do all the things, but I don't know. They want me to be silenced, not even to support Barrow. But, and what they want me to silence, it's not what I'm talking about politics, it's what I'm exposing about them. They know, I mean, not even that, saying that they know, because every time whatever I say will come to this thing. Right now, petrol, we still have the petrol crisis. When I said there's going to be a petrol crisis for how many years now? Since 2021. We see the petrol crisis. When I talk about the Russians interfered with our petrol, this is all coming out. It's went to parliament before they know it. When I talk about Barrow taking bribes because of the buses bought, that he instructed his buses to be bought from TK Motors and he took bribe from it. It's just recently Parliament is, they look, oh, crazy, oh, and we didn't know how this thing occurred. We told them. They will try something else. And they are trying something else. And when that comes in, we're going to deal with it. But do you know why they're doing this aggressively? And this is very recent, I'm telling you. Because I'm not talking about myself here. I just want Gambians to realize the people I'm going to talk about. Now, you see the way they try to silence Madi Jobate, charge him. They know they have nothing to charge him for. They cannot take him to court. For how many years now Madi is reporting on bail or having something hung on him? And many people, I can tell you, have gone silent. Because of the reason, it's not their cowards. You know what these people know, that they cannot take these people to prison because they know that Gambia have changed that little bit. That's that little bit they want to take out. That's why they want to silence those people so that they can take that out and they can do whatever they want. Because they are unpopular. People are hurting. You see, that's why when I explain about the evolvement of democracy in the United Kingdom and now the democracy going back because of the system's interference, this is what is happening here. For them, instead of saying, oh, this is what people want, let's give it to them, no. They are not capable of doing that. They are not capable of drawing up programs that even if they are corrupt and still people will have their basic needs taken care of. No. They don't have that intellect. All they have is what they take. And what one of them said, Kerong, they are all Kerongs. That's why he went and joined the Kerong. That's all they know. You can leave a pyramid of knots and they would rust, and next minute the pyramid would capsize this thing on them. That's how they do. That's why still they don't have one job creation. They cannot do anything to create jobs. And all, if you listen to Lamin Mane of UDP, he said it on the coffee time. Now the roads, God knows how much these roads are costing us now. In places like Dubai, where roads are built in desert, but they don't cost this much. All this because of, that's where they get their corruption. Over $1 million a kilometer. And you see nothing, no drainage, no nothing. This is what they do. Now, because of people are hurting, they don't know how to do this. They want to silence the people. They want to keep the people silent, people not to speak, people not to enter this thing. We saw them board the news outlets. Go and look at the news outlets, how they reported the lack of fuel. Go and look at it. When the minister came and lied that the fuel situation is resolved, he lied. He lied. But you didn't see the press pick on that. Go and look at how the press is reporting the bread crisis. They bought them and they are buying more. Now, the evidence is here. Now they are not even enough. Now they want to manufacture the news. Because they know nobody looking at GRTs. Now they went and buy a V van, whatever van they call it. And Barrow said, so that they can sell their agenda, so that they can do this. He doesn't know that you cannot sell lies. You cannot fabricate it. People have to feel it. You see, the senses, human beings, you can manipulate their mindsets for a long time. But the minute they started to feel it hurt, their mind responds. It's just like your sense of smell. If you take a good cup of coffee now, smell it. It might remind you to holidays in Turkey. It might remind you the first time you drank coffee. It might remind you a lot. Because of your sense of taste. Because of your sense of smell. It's the same as when you started to get hungry and you couldn't feed yourself. You know, other things can even be, which are necessity and can even constitute to be a right to have energy, light at your house. It can even constitute that to able to afford bikes. Because if you know what bikes can do for you, emergencies, entrepreneur, all these things, but all these things can go irrelevant if you are manipulated. You see, that's what the far right is doing. They manipulated the Americans to believe in the foreigners, whatever it is. But the minute the policies that these billionaires put in to benefit themselves and hurting them, who are crying more? People who supported Trump. Because for their mindset, and those Arabs that voted for Trump, their mindset was all that. Because they put their heart were informed by being prejudiced. They had been informed. That's why they use tribalism. But you can be tribalist to other tribes until you find out that tribe is not the one stopping me from feeding my children or feeding myself. You see, people's school standards can drop. Other standards can drop. But the minute they cannot feed themselves, people will speak out. And people will come out. As I said, go and find out the bread. How many times bread has caused revolutions. Now, this brings us to, because I don't want it to be about the person. I want it to be about the issue. And if the government was tackling this, they should have tackled the issue, not the person, not the messenger. The case of Luis Butanos. Luis Butanos, the gentleman we saw, came with that viral video. Luis Butanos have not said anything that other people have not said before. But this is something very strange here. You see, in society, there's something called colorism. If light-skinned people started to speak about certain issues, if people we assume, I'm using the word assume to privilege, started to speak, it means something else. I have videos and see when some youths have said certain things and swear even Some of the swearing, even it's directed to, the president. I've seen that. I've never seen them taking this in. Someone said, Naka Uncle Barrow living, or no, and he was saying something about Barrow, and some of the kids walking past looking at him, the lawyer said, Hana Barrow sent Uncle La. It was a bit side. I can't remember what he said, but it was kind of a really listen, pointing out his hand. And many young people have heard them say that. But because Luis Butanos is seen as privilege, and people say thinking that, because of he insult. He did not insult anyone. Yes, it's not desirable to use that to say what he wanted to say. But it's not an offense. It's not an offense. He did not insult anyone. I am not going to call out names, but we have all the time, we hear NPP militants insulting people. I don't want to give them relevance. We hear that all the time, putting audios insulting. And insulting people for that matter. And Louis using an insult in his language does not constitute a crime. But that's not the reason they they arrested him. People will want you, they want you to believe that. What the main reason is when Louis said that this might cause a social revolution. And it's a fact. It might cause a social revolution. It's an offense, but it's fair. Because they don't want to hear that. But this is the fact. It's likely to cause social revolution. I keep on saying it. Barrow cannot keep himself there. It's either he allow and use conducive environment and elections take him out. If he fails to do that, he became illegitimate, because if you disallow a legitimate process, you are fostering an illegitimate process, which would be time legitimate if they succeed. They said if they succeed. If they succeed, people forget about it. And it's not only the army might do it, the people might do it. The people might be the catalyst for the army to do it. There are many ways it can happen, even with the presence of ECOMIC. If people come out in numbers force, ECOMIC they are not mad enough. Especially the ECOMIC under the command of Senegal, that Senegalese commander dare not give orders to kill Gambians. Because he have none that power. Even under Macky Sall, he would not have done that, especially now. Because we know what the pacific people went through. And they don't want that to be under attack. And even if the Gambians started to oppose that much of presence of ECOMIC, I can tell you see a difference. They don't want that. That's why when the guy says to celebrate, they have to pick him up. They picked up a soldier too. Yes. The standing orders or whatever orders they have now, rules, regulations, might not allow soldiers to talk about politics. But the definition of this is not political. He was not talking on behalf of any political party. The gentleman was talking as a father, probably, or a provider. He was a corporal, probably he's married, or if it's not married, I can tell you, many of those young people are relying on him. And he was talking about social issues. We can construe political if you want, but he was not talking about it. The intention was not to be politicized. Yes. I am not saying that the army cannot investigate, but even if they investigate, let them look at it at the let them not react. Let them look at it at the premise of the social concerns. What really got him to speak? We don't know who he is. He doesn't look like someone being radicalized, but it's someone hurting, a father or a provider hurting, just as other Gambians are. That's why I said what we are suffering, the suffering of Gambian people is not unique to a political party. It's not unique to any kind of a demographic. Even so-called middle-class Gambia now are hurting because of the challenges they're facing. But the time is getting to people starting to speak. You had the other woman that spoke about the bread situation, and this is what is going to come out. Then that's why we are asking for leadership. That's why when we see APP, Sobea, Esafal, Mama Kande, and others started to think this way, I think we should do more of that. To share platform. The leadership to rule or to lead and coalition will come later. But it's now to build confidence, to share platform, to start to fight. Fight, I mean, to stand to advocate on platforms of social injustices and every wrongs that Barrow is going to do or what's going to bring onto us. If you are a genuine opposition, Barrow will come for you. If you come together, he dare not. We will control the narrative. We will control him, and change will come. And whoever Gambians desire to lead, that person will lead. But Luis Bosanos, they will charge him. They will keep him on bail so that he'll be running around to silence him. And he might not speak again. Not that he's a coward. No. Probably because of priorities. And I'm not going to get in there. Certain things might be health. Certain things might be family pressure. And we all know. She's got a daughter. I don't know where I saw the daughter commented. Very proud of it, that and everything else. But it might come to a pressure that's trying to see sign of stress and other things. Might appeal to that. Stop it. The wife might say stop it. Other might say stop it. And that make him stop it. We are all not designed the same way. And Louis, I'm told, the kind of person he is. He has been serving, training the NIA, training the army, training the thing on self-defense, training youths and everything else. And he was talking probably, and most probably not about himself. Yeah, it sounds as himself. But that frustration came out from somewhere. And I can tell you many people have that frustration. I talked to many people that I know, educated people who are conscious Democrats and everything. But to their frustration, sometimes they will even give out statements. Asing voices, asing amon kusitane. They mean the army. Defco. Critical. I know they don't mean it, but it's coming, you see, it's coming from somewhere. The frustration, they didn't see anything. Because they cannot see Barrow changing anything. It's crossed the line. But they are not even hopeful of the opposition doing it. And I am hopeful that Gambians can do it. Why did I say I'm hopeful Gambians can do it? Not saying hopeful opposition can do it. Oppositions are Gambians. But as a structure, as they are now, they might not do it. But if Gambians coming to stand as civil society and the opposition as Gambians and prioritize what we prioritize, we will do it. I can tell you, Barrow cannot salvage that country. He's destroyed beyond him salvaging it. He can't. He's compromised. The drug cartel will not leave. They captured him. The economic cartel will not stop. Their appetite to corruption and selfishness will not stop. Now look at silent. Now look at how many social influencers now going cheering up Jar Oil, cheering up Babawaka Jawara, cheering up this, cheering of this. They're captured. It's not going to change. We have to force and rescue our people. Guys, thank you very much. This word is gone 2.5 hours. I was meant to be here an hour, but we'll try and come as much as possible. Because of time, at times it's easier just to take interviews with AG radios. What we do is in Wolof, but I'll try to come in here again to discuss some of these issues in English for other people that might not have access or to the radio or the language barriers. But I appeal to people to follow AG radios where we have a lot of discussions. At times it's different from someone asking the question than you just presenting it. Thank you very much. And for all those people commenting on others, I will read your comments later, and obviously, but I am not just good at reading comments and deliberating at the same time. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good evening. Jay Jeff.